Hey guys, this is my final presentation for GRC 315. Uh, I honestly learned a lot from my during this course, and I'll discuss what I approve and the strengths and weaknesses and what I accomplish from this through this whole course along the way. So yeah, so here it goes. So, starting off with my object sketches. So, what we did, we actually just had to pick out like three of the objects that we done. Um, I would say for all of that, actually, I actually showcase some of the interesting techniques that I done with them, like the tape measure, which I actually did the dragon. So, as you see right here, so hopefully you guys can see it. I know my screen's a little bit big, but as you see right here, hopefully you guys do see that. But as the dragon, I did the dragon foot because it's actually a strong execution, and I actually did like the snails, the bag of coins, fire vase. For the scissors, I just did woodpecker, two duets dancing, the pirate swords, the butterfly, the pouch. I did a burger, clam, and hot air balloon. So what I did with that, I picked the three of them, which are the dragon, clam, and the duets. So basically, I went along with it. I tried just playing around with it here and there with values and sketches and stuff. So this is what my file turned out. So overall, I think I actually execute some of this really well. But some issues though, I would say it's just a bit on the value scale with the dragon, which I don't like how it turned out, which I was like not too confident with it. But I would say the clam I executed really well. Like honestly, I love how like the values, the contrast, everything that I done with it, it's already there. And then moving on, which I did my silhouette process, which this is like a practice for getting it like doing like any character designs, working on their anatomy, stuff like that here and there. So we draw, so I draw like multiple of them, like different, uh, elder, young, old animals, different objects, and yeah, I honestly this was pretty satisfying. The way I did it, it looks sweet. So yeah. Next is my Illustrator presentation. So we were basically doing a presentation to analyze on Illustrator that we select. So what basically for my Illustrator, I picked Patrick Hagel. He focused more on women that feels more comfortable with their sexuality and like the way he does his techniques and stuff. He used flat colors and use clean lines to actually execute some of the designs to make them more pop. Here are some collabs that big companies that were really interested on seeing his work. So obviously, as you see with Rockstar, basically the creators who make Grand Theft Auto, uh, they use that for the title screen, and even celebrities that use some of his work for albums. And also Gucci also did collab as well, which also does clothes and stuff for that as well. So basically for this whole semester, we were mainly focused on doing our own stories and doing a public domain based off of it. So my story, I genetically did. I just did monkey's paw. So my towel was like the honeymoon of three wishes. So as you can see, I just actually showcase what it will look like. It's in Japan. So obviously, so there's two couples that actually travel through their honeymoon that actually experience something very strange along the way. So they actually discover something very, very odd and mysterious. So which showcase them on what happened when Kate actually gives like uh interesting, scary looking paw like on a sweet potato that she gave to the monkey, and something might happen to that. Um, so here's my mood board. So I actually try to gain some interest on what it will look like, the layout, the colors, the clothing and stuff here and there, and just pick out my villain. So I actually try to make it like two young couples and try to gather some objects and stuff on what I can actually expand more forward with it. So yeah. And for the character designs, I actually did some poses for some of them. So I was kind of like, let's just go with whatever I have with it. So some of them are pretty interesting. I made James try to look like cool, just more protective. He's more logical. Kate, the way I did Kate, she was like more optimistic, just kind of like more aware of her surroundings more than James. James is kind of like, whatever, just like that. But the character designs, I actually just picked out some of the poses on what I actually be a lot more confident with. So I honestly just picked the other two for Kate and the monkey spirit because those were like the two strongest ones, and for James I picked the first one because it's kind of like matches his personality, like a cool dude or whatever. And then I kind of like sketched them out on what they will look like based on looking back on what my mood board was. So yeah, um, and then like coloring them, I feel like I feel like is a lot stronger on what I expected, and I really like how they come out in the last process. So yeah, for my prop designs, I actually did a Wish Talesman, Indecent, and a sweet potato. So what I kind of did for that, I was trying to do the sweet potato for the main subject for what's happening like during this whole movie for per se. So it's like is these like as I mentioned, like Kate with the sweet potato trying to give it to the monkey. She doesn't even notice or not even like aware of it, but it's just something mysterious that happened to the monkey, which became like a bad curse. So with that, I sketched them out. So I feel like I did a great job like executing on what they will look like based on what I look back on my mood board. I test out the value scales with the sweet potato because I thought this would have been a lot stronger, a lot simple and better than what I did. And then lastly, I did like a Photoshop, which I kind of did um, a, an adjustment gradient, I believe, for that. And I would say I like how this turned out. Okay, so the environment layouts, I picked um, the island, the vacation house, and I would say it's like the temple. Yeah, the temple. Okay, so I started out doing like the line sketches and stuff on how I can format it, and I would say my issues with it is just kind of getting the proportions down with some of them. And then like moving forward, I did the value scales, so which I genuinely did pretty well on, but just kind of like getting there so I can actually try. But I would say the driveway for the vacation house, it wasn't like too good. The way I kind of just like the way I actually drew it out, just, it wasn't too good. But I would say the strongest one I did was the temple, which I really liked the most on the values overall. Um, and then the colors for this, I like how I actually executed the island, the way I actually did the colors and stuff. The vacation house I did really well. I actually played around with some of this with color pencils here and there, and that's it. I for that. And for the temple, I just still kept it as that as well, the same colors. So I kind of like it. I really like how I executed the jungle and stuff. Even like the little details of the bark here and there and the bushes, like the lighting. The issues with that, I kind of did like a little bit stormy, which kind of did not matches the lighting and the contrast of the green. For the strip layout, I started out doing my own storyboard for that. So I played it around here and there by doing this. Here we go. Let me zoom it in. So, yeah. So I just did the two couple. That is the island. Kate was like, "Are you sure?" James was like, "Yeah, just go ahead." It's like they aren't gonna bite you. So it's like she gives it to the monkey, and then they come home after, and then later at night they hear a strange knock, and it's it's the monkey guy, and there he goes trying to bust down and try to come after them and kill him. I don't like how I kind of jump into the scene. I could have just add like a little scene to it, like what how she find the talesman here and there. But I would say the way I kind of how I executed like some of the ways and stuff are really nice. Even like zooming in, I zoom it in on Photoshop. The way I actually just try to did like a point of view of Keith trying to go up the stairs and here and there. I just did the backgrounds, and what I did, I draw it individually. I draw the characters in the background alone, and when I do, I put it the characters in Photoshop, like in the background, and that's pretty much it. I kept like some of the same drawings the same for my previous rough draft for some of them because I thought some of them were really strong, and I just using in some of them, and it turned out pretty nice. And then I would say for the other works, I kind of improved on it, and what my instructor think of it um, is it's pretty much thick for the borders and stuff, which I actually approve for my final one, as you're gonna see right now. And I would say like the lighting of the characters, just mostly like right there, it just feels like a little bit off, and it kind of like blends in with the background mostly. So as you can see right now, I actually cleaned it up a bit, and I would say it actually improved. So yeah, I really like how the final one really turned out. So yeah, and I really like how I just did the bull, tailsman, the human skin. Just everything is just all spot on right there. Lastly is my sculpture process. So what I did with it, I used wire and I used Kate for as the final, as you can see right there. I use her as the main character, as I said. But this is already finished, but you're gonna see it like in 3D as of right now. So yeah, um, I really like how I did the layering and stuff here and there. So this is just like the finished like design layout for the clay I just done so far. And then after it, I just painted it because this was like dry clay. I used dry clay for my sculpture process, and that's pretty much it. I really like how I actually executed the character overall. I just did the outlines for some of them, but the main issue is just using like the nose and like the hair. As my instructor pointed out, I shouldn't even like draw the lines like right here because it doesn't look too good. The nose, I would say, is just a bit, but the issue I had with it, it was like mostly like a block. So, yeah. But overall, I think I did really well with it. They, overall, for my conclusion, I learned so much in this class, and honestly, it was a really great experience on literally just building up my strengths and helping me for my next portfolio review and building more as an illustrator and a designer overall. And I'm really happy I took this class. And really appreciate you guys on giving me feedback, the strengths and weaknesses that I have moving forward. And hope you guys have a really nice summer. Thank you.